Hi everyone. I'm about to share an awesome adventure that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. My name is Lily, and I am the most vicious hater of the outdoors. How do you feel about camping? Share in the comments. I hope I'm not the only one. It was in our dorm on a normal Saturday afternoon. My girlfriends and I were drinking our favorite strawberry tea and eating muffins. Ava took 100 pictures of breakfast, as usual, and managed to post it on all her pages. She was so proud of the cupcake that she'd made and wanted to announce the deed to the world. Ah, Ava! I'll tell you a secret. The frozen muffin was bought at the supermarket across the street, and all Ava did was heat it up in the oven. Shh, it's a secret. I sat inspecting my manicure, and Monica dreamily hovered in the clouds. Suddenly, Jenny suggested we spend the day outdoors. The girls supported the idea, but I refused. As I said before, I do not like hiking, nature, mountains, and everything combined. For me, watching a movie with caramel popcorn is quite a great pastime. But the girls wouldn't let up. They didn't want to understand that I didn't like it and kept insisting. My trump card was my parents. They are very strict and don't allow me to leave the house without a good reason. My mom and dad think that as soon as I leave the school, that's it. Dinosaurs will maul me, and meteorite will fall, or a huge fiery hailstorm will roll all over the asphalt. When all sorts of excuses ran out, the heavy artillery came in the form of mom and dad. They wouldn't let me go, as much as I'd like to. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, my great girlfriends, but I'll pass. I walked quietly from the table thinking about what comedy to watch while the girls were climbing mountains when I heard Monica talking to my mom on the phone. I immediately ran up to her, gesturing that I didn't want to go anywhere. But Monica gave me a big smile and said, "Okay, you're done. I'm the best negotiator in the world. Even your parents can't say no to my friendliness." My mom was against it at first, but she said fresh air was a great idea and she was very persuasive. They're coming to get us in the evening, so we don't have to worry about transportation. The girls started bouncing around merrily while I sighed heavily and went to go pack my backpack. I felt like I had been taken hostage and there was no way out but to obey my captors. An hour later, we stood at the bus stop and waited for the bus to arrive. Our destination was a small park outside of the city, not very crowded, with lots of mosquitoes and flying creatures. Along the way, Ava made the usual stories and posts, talking about everything she saw, heard, ate, and thought about. All in all, the usual chatter of a girl who fancies herself an influencer. Jenny listened to music on her headphones while Monica stared dreamily out the window. When we arrived at our destination, we were in silent shock. The road to the park was plowed, with stones and planks lying all over the place. Apparently, some kind of renovation was underway, but it was not finished. The bus driver said that he could not go further, and we had to walk on our own now. Apart from the nature, I also hate walking a lot, especially on the bumpy roads. Look at the look on my face. That's what disappointment looks like. We walked up the trail and there was not a soul around. Apparently, we were the only ones who didn't know about the roads repairs. The rest of the smart people are sitting at home watching their Saturday movie selection. Monica stopped halfway down the road and laid a tablecloth right on the ground. We will have a picnic here. How did you decide that? Feng Shui or the southwest wind direction? I asked sarcastically. Monica left my question unanswered. The girls took out their food containers and started eating. I didn't want to sit stupidly in the middle of the road with no trees or grass. I decided to go for a walk and distract myself and pass the time until the evening. Leaving my backpack behind, I grabbed my phone. Damn, I forgot to charge it this morning again. But I think a few pictures should be enough. I walked down the barely visible path to the sound of water. There was a babbling brook somewhere nearby. After walking a few meters, I saw a small stream and crouched by the bank. All right, enjoy your rest. It's only one day, even less. I'll take some selfies, post them on the page. Pointing the camera and tilting my head slightly, I smiled and took a picture. Gosh darn, my second chin's out. Okay, one more click. My eyes are squinting here. No, I need to move over a bit. And ew, what was that? Ew! Some liquid from above fell right on my face. When I wiped it with my hand, I saw it was poop. And by the size of it, it was a big bird. Damn, there was no napkin or handkerchief to clean it up. I bent down to the river to wash my face, but I slipped and fell straight into the water. You have no idea how angry I was. I was ready to scream with contamination. With anger, I was ready to catch all the birds flying by and smack them on their insolent beaks. I reached in my pocket for my phone and was horrified to find it missing. Where is it? Come on, there's no way it could have... I didn't want to go back, but I had to. I mean, can you imagine? I walked for half an hour to find out the phone was gone. I have walked the same distance again. When I reached in the ill-fated river, I searched for the phone. The phone was nowhere to be found. The thought that it might have fallen into the water was the saddest thing. Peering into the bottom of the river, I mentally asked that my dear and favorite phone was not there, but disappointed to see a silver rectangle. Having calculated the approximate distance, I realized that, alas, to dive to the bottom, it would not be for me. Climb into the water, risking my life, thank you, no need. Inside, I was terribly angry on why I even agreed to this trip. The whole day was a waste. I sat on the shore and cried. I had never been so bitter and hurt. After sitting for a while, I suddenly heard voices from the distance. Lily! Lily! Lee! I joyfully stood up, shook off the sand, and shouted with all my might, I'm here, girls, I'm here! Monica appeared on the horizon, followed by a terrified Ava and Jenny. At first, they looked at me from head to toe with horror, realizing that questions would be inappropriate, and came over to help. Ava asked why my phone was off, to which I silently pointed to the river. The girls led me to our place and gave me dry clothes. While I was warming up, Monica made a fire. Jenny poured hot tea and Ava told some funny stories to cheer me up. Together we sat around the fire and reminisced about funny moments from life. I had even forgotten the events of the afternoon. It was getting dark and we started to sing the songs we often sing in our dorm. When suddenly we heard some rustling. I tensed up, looked at the girls. Maybe I heard a noise. But having seen fear in their eyes, I knew that they heard it too. The rustling started to come closer, and Ava grabbed her tripod and braced herself for an attack. The girls and I stared into the darkness. Who's there? Come out, I shouted. It's us! God, couldn't you have found a more abandoned park? Mom's voice brought me to my senses. I ran up to her and hugged her, and my mother wrinkled her nose and asked what I smelled like. I laughed and said that it had been a long adventure, and that the birds had greeted me that way. Mom laughed and said that when my parents went out on the road, my dad had also picked up a bird on his head, and that he was now trying to remove the traces of its presence. The birds must be very fond of your family, the girls teased. Everyone was having fun, and we packed our bags and went to the car. When I saw my dad's upset face, I knew something was wrong. The car was stuck. I can't get out. Yeah, this day never ceases to amaze me. Dad got behind the wheel and the girls started pushing, but it was really hard. The wheels got really stuck. Another attempt, nothing again. Staying overnight in the car in the middle of a plowed park was not a great idea, and we struggled to get the car out. Fortunately, the wheels were a little relentless, and I was standing on the driver's side. Abruptly pulled the door forward, and how I fell straight into the puddle face down. All my dry clothes, my barely brushed hair, everything, absolutely everything was covered in mud. Man, I hate this day. Are you okay? Jenny asked me. Jenny, what does it goddamn look like? You know what? Thank you so much for such a perfect day off. We drove home in complete silence as I longed to get to my room, wash, put on my clean clothes, and go to sleep, trying to forget this horrible camping trip. Guys, if any of your friends don't want to go for a walk with you, or drive, or don't want to eat what you have prepared, leave them alone. No need to be offended. No need to force them. Everyone has the right to do what they want. The girls are sitting at the table watching TV. Jenny gets up abruptly from the couch and says, Girls, I've got a great idea. Why don't we go skydiving? Lily rolls her eyes, and Ava and Monica laugh hysterically.